There is a reality that we often refuse to accept as true, but it absolutely is. And that is that human emotions are complex and fluctuate. Normally, we don't always feel the same. In the end, emotions are very closely linked or are triggered by a prior thought. And our way of viewing things, thinking about things, and therefore feeling in reference changes over time. That's precisely why you might meet someone, and at the moment you meet them, it's not that you love them madly, but you can come to love them madly. You can come to feel that you stop loving them and then feel that you love them again. Things are in a state of change. The problem is that we don't see it this way. And that's why we often don't accept the idea. To believe that sometimes giving something time and letting it be is the most effective thing we can do. We act as if once something happens, it stays that way, especially if it's negative. That is to say, the change when a person starts to get involved with us, or likes us, or something arises, we accept that change well. Why? Because it is pleasant, it is satisfying, it benefits us, we like it. So of course here I find it easy to accept that emotions have changed. But there are times when the other person might feel overwhelmed, there might be a change of opinion, or an emotional change might occur. At that moment, I believe the change is already permanent, right? It's like, wow, this person has stopped feeling, that's it. I have to do something, I have to act. Without understanding that, one of the things it has is the ability to often repair. Sometimes it can even repair emotional fluctuations in our favor. Right? Imagine this, you break a leg. What does that leg need to recover? To be left alone. Not to be moved, rest. And time. And that bone will regenerate. Right? What happens if I say, no, it's broken, I have to do something to fix it, whatever it takes? Come on, exercise to fix it. This cream and now this, and I don't leave it alone, that bone is not going to heal. Sometimes, when we might be dealing with a romantic situation that, for whatever reason, has been cut short, it could be that this person has seen things that didn't convince them. It could be that we've gone through a phase of conflict. We have different opinions on something, and we've been linking arguments that have created a somewhat tense, somewhat charged atmosphere. And all of this has led the person to start having thoughts that have made them feel different towards us. It could be due to external reasons, right? This person might have received news from someone, and this again. That is to say, something has happened, something has impacted, and in this person's mind, there are new thoughts that have led to new emotions and have caused the situation with us to possibly change. This person might have wanted to leave this, be here, or appear colder, or be more distant, or be more changeable, in short. We always believe at that moment, wow, broken leg, I have to act, I have to do something. Whether it's because I have to tell them what to think so they go in the right direction, or because they need to see that they're losing me and I have to make them see it. See with actions, whether provoked, a lot of acting. And usually I tell you that in most cases, except for specific cases where this person truly needs to hear from our side something concrete, and we will know it there. No. I'm talking to you about those cases where you go like a chicken without a head because you really don't know what to do. You only know what you want to do because you want to fix things. In all those cases, I tell you that the most effective thing is to understand that this is like a broken leg. It's to understand that if you simply do nothing here and have some patience for that head to readjust on its own, it's the most effective thing you can do. Truly, because if all this has happened due to a conflict situation or because this person has felt equally emotionally overwhelmed by what we have, or because they have seen things that at that moment led them to think that we are not compatible or that the bad outweighs the good, All these kinds of problems do not mean that they are being resolved and that we don't have to see how we solve it later, because otherwise, even if a return occurs, the outcome will be the same. So there really needs to be, we need to communicate later, draw conclusions, understand what happened. But all these kinds of problems, if I act, I exacerbate them, I aggravate them, especially if I act from the urgent need that leads me to act because this situation causes me discomfort. There, my actions are impulsive. They are energetic. They are drastic many times. On the other hand, if I don't act, this person's mind will calm down, will stop feeling overwhelmed, stressed, will forget the bad more, will start to remember the good more, will probably miss me. That is to say, really, right now I am doing nothing. Because I want all of this to be like a pressure cooker that I know I shouldn't touch. I'm going to let it release the pressure on its own through the little spout while I stick to my own things. I give you that space that I sense you need, and when you readjust, we'll see how this can be resolved. But I understand that there is a reality, and that is, have you ever heard the saying, he who leaves without being pushed returns without being called? Well, whoever gets overwhelmed, whoever gets disturbed, whoever changes their mind, without us having wanted to lead the person or having wanted this to happen, I also have to allow that person to readjust on their own. That's how it is. So one of the huge advantages of no contact is that it understands. Respecting that moment, not interfering with those emotions, wisely knowing that those emotions on their own, with time and without acting, is the most effective way for them to heal, so to speak, for that person to be able to return. To connect more with the positive feelings we provoked, to connect more with that longing. No contact understands this and says, okay, I know that emotions are changeable. I know that emotions fluctuate. And that sometimes the best thing we can do for a situation or to try to safeguard a situation is not to interfere with it. Because the more I do for it, the more I harm myself and sometimes lead myself to the point of no return. That these emotions do continue to change, but increasingly change in that direction we don't want, which is for the person to come to the conclusion of no, 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 and become stubborn. Because moreover, when someone doesn't feel respected in what they want to do, no matter how much we might understand that what they want to do is a mistake, we might even sense that this causes a lot of frustration. What are the reasons why this person, perhaps mistakenly, has come to that conclusion, and how could we solve it? But if the person at that moment, due to stress or whatever reason, is not able to see it, and we insist that they understand it, comprehend it, and agree to it, to a solution right now that gives us an option, right now, and so on. The person interprets all this as not having the freedom to choose, it's being imposed on me. And there's nothing worse in a relationship than feeling that I'm not free. That is, not free to go with other people for intimacy, but free to decide if I want to be in that situation. So even if you from the outside understand why this person might be overwhelmed and you have the solution and such, you have to wait for this person to come out of that moment to be able to present all that. As I say, I'm not saying that it shouldn't be addressed. It will have to be addressed. Because evidently, if the situation with a person has reached the point where this person has decided they will be better off without me, or that they need to distance themselves, or whatever the case, here we need to address what has happened and seek solutions. This is undeniable, but it must be understood that these solutions will only work if this person, on their own, comes to find me. That's the moment to say, hey, look, I've also been thinking, I believe this might have happened to us. I wouldn't want it to happen again. And I think the situation requires taking X measures. Here, evidently, I can't tell you what to do because I don't know your situation with the person. But for me, it's very important that you understand that the timing of your actions matters. And if I feel that I'm not being respected in what I want to do, I'm going to become stubborn no matter what. That is to say, if I've decided for whatever reason, because I've had a sudden realization, because I've come to something that I'm better off without you and I'm wrong, I need to realize it myself. No one is. No one learns from someone else's mistakes. And if you come to me asking to go to therapy, saying you've understood what you've done wrong, and that I should give you a chance to show that you can do things differently, and that it has to be now. And if you start explaining to me that if I don't give you a chance, you're going to die of sadness, you're going to... All of that is pressure that can only lead to a person who, if left alone, might realize on their own, hey, I've rushed things. I've been too radical. I do have feelings for this person. I need to understand that one of the things that happens is that pressure often nullifies feelings. So a person who, for whatever reason, whether justified or not, has come to the determination that they want space, want distance, don't want to be with us, right? At that moment, they might not feel. They might not be in touch with their feelings, which doesn't mean the feelings aren't there. That's why I say emotions are fluctuating, they are changing, and later on, they might connect. But if at that moment I don't allow them that, but instead, as I say, I insist, tap, 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 how are you? The feeling of being pressured will be such that I will indeed want to be even more decisive. I will want to take even more drastic measures. And I will be disconnected for a longer time from all that which might still be in a part of me. And understanding that this is the case also helps us act in the most intelligent way. That is to say, I've even heard sometimes that it's better to prevent than to cure. In other words, we start noticing that a person is acting strange, overwhelmed, it seems like they are going to leave us. In fact, this is the best advice someone can give you. When you notice that someone is about to or is contemplating whether to leave you or not, they are doubting whether to leave you or not. And sometimes we really do notice it. The person seems to be mulling it over right in front of us. And you might know that you've put a lot of pressure on the situation. Sometimes truly the best thing is to get ahead of it. Even tell the person, hey, look, if you don't want to end it completely out of fear, know that this is a proud person who might interpret it as a reason not to come back later, but tell them, I feel a bit strange and I need some time, I need some space. This is ideal because you anticipate the other person's need. That is to say, instead of if, on the contrary, you notice the person acting strange, you become destabilized and try to do everything. Not by saying, no, I feel like they're about to, no. I don't want to separate. I wasn't going to add more pressure and let's do this. And how much I love you and I don't know what else. You lead that person directly to say, I can't. But if on the other hand, you take and say, it's just that I'm seeing that the moment is approaching, right? Well, I'm going to anticipate their need. What does this person really want at this moment? No, they don't want 100,000 potions and rehabilitation. They want some space. They want to feel that I remain steady and that I could turn my back on them. Well, I'm not going to wait for them to ask me. I'm going to impose it myself. I'm going to distance myself. This sometimes is a solution, let's say, almost magical for situations that look very grim. So I have to stop always seeing space, distance as something negative. I have to stop being afraid of it. I have to stop being super reluctant. Sometimes I notice that the person is a little more distant. They haven't even communicated the desire to let it be, but they are a little more distant. And I don't allow it. I don't allow it because I'm afraid, because I interpret that distance as the precursor to, and I don't want it. Because it's not what we want. And it's normal that it's not what we want. And the fear you feel is normal. And the reaction you have of wanting to, at that moment, shorten that distance and be there and want to know. What's wrong with you? Tell me, explain to me, and let me know. But all of that is not smart. I have to understand that the best thing for someone who is overwhelmed, who is thinking, is to show them, hey, you have no reason to be overwhelmed. Look, you are free, you are free. You need that space, okay? I'll even give you more space than you need, meaning that I notice the person is more distant, colder, more so. I'm going to ask for time. Hey, look, I'm sorry, but I'm going away for the weekend with some friends. I'm going to make such a plan. My family needs me for such a reason. Make up an excuse and go for it. more time than that person seems to need. And in that time, in that space, in that distance, that little head that sometimes is thinking things that aren't true or is getting overwhelmed by things, believe me, it will do the work you need it to do. And if that person has already gotten too overwhelmed and has left, even so, again, the sooner the better. You can refuse your desire to be reluctant, to try to prevent it, to appeal to their conviction, and the sooner you understand that you have to let it be, the better for you. Any stress will be able to leave sooner. And again, as I say, the memory, the way of seeing it, will work in your favor. Truly, I have seen from a distance. I have seen distances that have worked. So let's say we could consider them miracles. In terms of how people have fallen in love again on their own, have they come to revalue a person? Have they come to view a situation in a very different way? Truly, respect and let the other be. Allow them to be free if that's what they want, and show them that from my side I am obviously moving forward. That is to say, I don't stay there waiting. I don't beg you to reconsider. I don't try to convince you. But I also don't stay locked in my house crying in the corners, rather. It's about freedom. It's in both directions, right? I let you be. You feel overwhelmed, you don't want to, it's okay. I let you be. Be free. The sooner you allow yourself to be free, the sooner the overwhelm will go away. I don't look for you. The less I look for you, the sooner you'll end up missing me. And indeed, I live my life. Because I have a life. And when you leave it, it doesn't end. Instead, I keep moving forward. And without a doubt, I can assure you, anywhere, it's the most effective. That can be done when someone changes their mind, when their emotions change. Truly, I guarantee it. Well, I hope this video is helpful to you, that you liked it. If so, and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I invite you to do so, to hit the bell, because I would love for us to see each other again very soon. And until then, as always, I send you a big kiss.